Commission reports are out. Let's have a look through the numbers. We'll see what they say. Today we're going to be looking at perennial, K31, and turf type tall fescue. Let's get started with perennial ryegrass. First I want to talk about how my chart's laid out. Quarters, 1, 2, 3. These are fiscal quarters and year-to-date numbers. Across the top in the columns, fiscal years 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, 24-25, and 25-26. The green boxes, those are the best quarter in the 5-year period we're looking at. So perennial was really strong in 21 and 22. The yellow boxes would be the second best quarter. So let's look at first quarter 25-26. What we're looking at here is 27.9 million pounds. This number is down 0.9%, and that 9%, what we're talking about here, I took the previous 4 years, I averaged them out and I compared them to this. We're down, let's call it 1%. We'll go to Q2, 15.6 million pounds. Down quite a bit. We're down 30% from the 4-year average, but it's still better than 24-25 or 23-24. These were super strong years and they're hard to compare to those, but so probably not a horrible number in reality. We'll go to Q3. We're at 17.9 million pounds. We're off 8.2% from the 4-year average. And it was probably a weaker quarter. Last year we were at 20 million pounds. 21-22, even though it was strong here, was fairly weak in Q3. At 15.9, 22-23, this was the strongest quarter of the 4 at 21.44 million pounds. Year to date, we're at 61.4 million pounds. That's 12.3% below the 4-year average. Now let's talk about turf type tall fescue. Q1 25-26, a phenomenal quarter. 54.6 million pounds of seed moved. 32% above the 4-year average. Q2, not so hot, down 7% compared to the 4-year average. But Q3, right back up there, 49.4 million pounds, 14% above the 4-year average prior to this year. Year to date, we're up 14.7% at 134 million pounds. That is almost caught up with fiscal year 21-22, which had 139.7. So it's been a phenomenal year for tall fescues. This is by far the strongest year after 21-22. That's why we're seeing good movement. That's why we continue to see prices increase on tall fescue. Let's look at K31 now. This has been a huge year for K31. Up 89% over the previous 4-year average for Q1. Up 56% over the average of the previous 4 years of Q2. And Q3, up 50% over the average of the last 4 years. And the year to date, up 66.5% at 40 million pounds, almost 41 million pounds. Nothing else has come close. It's been a phenomenal year for K31. Looking at these numbers, I'm led to believe that perennial was softer than it could have been, only because tall fescue prices were low for the first 2 quarters of this fiscal year and even somewhat into Q3. Since then, they have strengthened. They have continued to strengthen for tall fescue since May 1. If you still have seed to sell, know what the numbers are before saying yes to a sale. What else can we learn? K31 was huge. I'm looking forward to the data meeting coming up this Thursday, the 21st. Want to talk with some dealers. We're getting ready for bargaining. That's why we have a data meeting. ODEA hosts it. But I'd like to talk to dealers and see what their thoughts on K31 are. Huge numbers. Like to know the reason for that. Turf type tall fescue. Those numbers were good. Probably a really good year. Second best year out of the 5. Looking forward to that as well. If you got questions or comments, any input on what you're seeing in the market, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for watching the video. We'll talk to you soon.